in the midterms. John Hart is the CEO of Open the Books. Orvik Roy is the co-founder and chairman of the Foundation for Research on Equal Opportunity. John, you came out with this report about how much we're paying these people, but you didn't even get into how bad the regulatory burden those same people create.
Yeah, that's right, Carl. It's great to be on. Look, we spend about $1 billion a day just on the federal workforce. So if you go back to the rescissions package, I'm glad we cut $9 billion, but we spend that in 9 days just on the federal workforce. And it has all kinds of negative impacts on the economy. Yeah, and so the most compassionate, effective anti-poverty and healthcare program ever devised is free market capitalism. And I'm delighted to be on with Ovik because he and I have worked on this for years together.
Yeah, Ovik, and to that point, like I said, going back to a system that's independent of the government that won't cost us or mortgage our futures is going to be painful.
Well, there's one middleman, Carl. You talked about a lot of middlemen in your monologue there. But there's one middleman that you didn't mention that's actually the most important middleman of all, and that's your employer. So after World War II, the Eisenhower administration basically created an executive order through the Treasury Department saying that if you get health insurance through your employer, it's exempt from all taxation. But if you buy it on your own, you have to buy it with after-tax dollars, after you've paid your income taxes and your payroll taxes and your Medicare taxes and your Social Security taxes, your state and local income taxes. So that's a lot harder for people to do. So we blew up the ability for people to buy health insurance on their own rather than getting it from their employer. That did several very damaging things. One, it made people completely complacent about what they were paying for health insurance because it was being bought for them. They don't even know how much is being taken out of their paycheck to do it. And that's what creates all the price untransparency, right? You don't need a law to have price transparency when you go to the gas station because everyone's competing for your business. Because you're not shopping for the insurance, that's why there's no price transparency. That's why there's so much bureaucracy, and that's why everything's so expensive.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm not a healthcare expert, but a little bit of research kind of helped me out on that one. John, your study also exposes that these government employees, many of which are helping make regulations for the ACA and things like that, super high pay. Senator Joni Ernst found some of these federal employees were billing taxpayers for sometimes 26 hours a day and working 3 government jobs at the same time.
Yeah, and look, Carl, we found 68,000 employees who made $200,000 or more every year. And again, these are people who are making
That's what the Secretary of Defense makes, by the way.
That's right, yeah. And look, and on healthcare, I work for Senator Coburn. We got ahead of this issue 20 years ago. We actually put forward a bill that included a lot of the concepts Ovik just described, even before Obama became the nominee. And so you're right to put maximum pressure on this problem for years.
And you make it post-tax dollars for most people, that doubles the cost of these things. Do you think it's feasible to all of a sudden just say, hey, you know what, bureaucrats, congressmen, everything, we're changing course radically like we did to go into Obamacare? Is it feasible without like a massive crash of the economy at this point?
Well, that's why you can't rip off the Band-Aid. We're talking about, let's just fix it all in 2 months. That's the reason why you can't. The transition would be pretty dramatic. So you have to do it gradually. You have to phase in this new system where more people are buying insurance on their own as opposed to getting it from their employer or the government. There's actually a bill that's been introduced in Congress called the Fair Care Act to do that. Bruce Westerman and Jim Banks, when he was in the House, were the sponsors in the House. On the Senate, it was Mike Braun when he was in the Senate. Now he's obviously the governor of Indiana. Jim Banks is in the Senate. I think there's going to be a new version of that bill in this new Congress. They're writing an introduction of it pretty soon.
Yeah. See, I'm a shock and awe guy. Get it over with. Just don't trickle it in, because otherwise it'll never get done. They'll do like one thing, someone will be upset, and they just won't do it anymore. So, John Hart, Ovik, we appreciate it.
Thanks, Carl.
Happy to be here.
All right, coming up.